Welcome to Parlay TV.
Plenty of things look easy at first. Skydiving, lion taming. From the comfort of your armchair, all sorts of risks look easy as
Cristiano Ronaldo, Diogo Jota, and Bruno Fernandes literally
blew Russia off the park in a clinical display of attacking football.
Wow.
Sorry, what did you say, Kobe?
Wow, bro.
Let's break it down.
I am Pat Mayo, and I'm here to give you the best pick at the top of the board, the best bet, if you will.
So I'm going to go with just under 25 for Middleton here.
Welcome back, everybody, to Spreadzies here on the Parlay. I'm your host, Luca, alongside my co-host, Jelani, and we are back with our NFL weekly picks. To quickly recap to see how we did last week, I went 9-5, much better week from a week ago, to now bring my overall record to 85-78. It was a wild week. We saw the Lions get their first win. We saw an epic Monday Night Football game in which Mac Jones only threw the ball 3 times, and the Patriots were still able to win. And now we are ready for NFL Week 14. Jelani, how are you feeling and doing coming out of NFL Week 13?
Yeah, I'm feeling great because this week I went 10-4 on the week. So now I'm at 88-74. So I'll say this: we had a lot of games on the week that we were expecting to go one way and went the other. Like you mentioned, the Lions getting their first win. It was great to see. I'm happy for Dan Campbell and company. Another team that people aren't really talking about, the Dolphins. The Dolphins are on a run right now. They're at 6-7, and they're probably gonna maybe win this week against the Giants. That's my pick. But we'll see what happens there. And then Washington, they're on a roll right now. They beat the Raiders. So a lot of teams impressing us on the week. But yeah, 88-74 overall.
All right, we're going to get into our picks. I am rocking my Ravens sweater, and it's probably not a good week following what happened last week. But, hey, I got to represent, and I got to rock Ravens gear throughout. So we'll get to the Ravens a little bit later. But before we get to that game, we're going to start with our first game of the week, and that is Thursday Night Football. 2 teams still have their playoff hopes alive. We got the Steelers coming off a big win against my Baltimore Ravens, taking on the Minnesota Vikings, who they just hit another low, losing to the Detroit Lions. It was the last play of a game, Jared Goff hitting the buzzer beater to win. So we'll see how the Vikings feel after that devastating loss. But anyways, the Vikings at home, actually favorites here, -3. Who you taking in the spot?
I'm taking Pittsburgh. I don't see why the Vikings are favored here, probably because that home field advantage. A lot of the times, if you're home, you get a 3-point advantage initially. But I think that without Dalvin Cook, no Adam Thielen, that's a big injury. They'll have to rely a lot on Jefferson out there. But, Kirk Cousins and company, I just don't see how they get this one done. They're coming off of a loss where, that loss to Detroit really hurts their chances in terms of a playoff spot, right? Now they're going to have to probably win out or hope for a lot of help down the stretch. They're 0-6 against the spread in their past 6 at home. So given that, I don't know how much faith I could put into them. And overall, they're 1-9 against the spread in their last 10. So I'm taking the Steelers here. I like what the Steelers showed me on the weekend. I believe they'll pressure Kirk Cousins this week and move to 7-5-1, helping their hopes for AFC wildcard spot. But yeah, with TJ Watt, Hayward, and all those guys up front, I think they'll bother Cousins on the day, and he'll be off.
Yeah, you took all the stats out of my mouth. Literally, the Vikings at home as a favorite. You want to stay away. You do not want to take them. I'm going with the Steelers here +3. This is a team in the Pittsburgh Steelers. They saved their season with a big win at home against Baltimore. They got lucky at the end. Obviously, Lamar Jackson missing a wide open Andrews. But nonetheless, they survived. They get a win. And Pittsburgh, in the thick of things in the AFC, they still have a chance at the division, for crying out loud. And who would have thought that would be the case? Since they tied the Lions a couple weeks ago. So Pittsburgh, they got to be feeling good about themselves. They're getting healthier on defense. Big Ben, he did say that this could very well be his final season. So, I mean, if this is going to be it for Big Ben, the Steelers, Mike Tomlin and company, they're going to want to show up for him and at least get into the playoffs in what's shaping up to be his last season. So I do like the Steelers in the spot. Minnesota, like you said, Jelani, that was a game they needed last week, just given how tough their schedule is going to be from here on out. The NFC is so competitive in terms of trying to get into the playoffs. So I think this is going to be another game that they slip up and they lose. So I do like the Steelers to cover, and I wouldn't be surprised if they win this game outright.
Okay, and now to the Steelers' rivals, we have the Ravens and the Browns. The Browns are actually favored here. Do you agree with that or no? Your Ravens.
I do agree with it because the Ravens are banged up. You heard Harbaugh say after his decision to go for 2, he was banged up at cornerback. They did not trust that defense going into overtime, so they literally went for it all on that final play. The gamble did not work out. Right now, I'm a little bit concerned about my Baltimore Ravens. The offense hasn't been looking good. Lamar Jackson hasn't been playing like that MVP that we saw to begin the season. They keep falling behind, and their defense is getting battered. I mean, you look at Marlon Humphrey now. He suffered a season-ending injury. That's going to be huge for this Ravens team. And we talk about how close things are in the AFC in that playoff picture. If the Ravens falter here a little bit, they could very well miss the playoffs. That's how crazy and close it is right now in the AFC. So I'm actually going to go with the Browns here. Coming off the bye, I think this is a game the Browns need to win. They still have a chance at the division, as do all the other teams in the North. And the Ravens, they're stumbling at the wrong time here. I think Cleveland is going to, come off that bye, remembering what the Ravens did to them the week before. Lamar Jackson able to sneak out that win despite throwing 4 interceptions. I don't think they're going to get that lucky this time around. I think the Cleveland Browns are going to be ready to go at home, getting fueled by that home crowd, and they will return the favor and will win this game. So I do agree with the line, and I do think the Browns are going to win and cover the 2.
I'm going to go with Baltimore this week. I do have faith in the Ravens more than I have faith in the Browns. And also the Browns, it's just because their offense is also as bad as the Ravens. The Ravens offense hasn't been good, like you mentioned, but the Browns, they've struggled a lot. And I know they had a bye, so maybe they come out, a bit hot. I don't think that's going to be the case. They've struggled to score points, right? It's been a month since they've scored over 13 points in a game. That's a cause for concern to me, right? So I think when you're playing Baltimore, I know Humphrey is out, but I don't know what we're going to expect to see. Like, I don't know what's going to happen with the Browns offense, that is. So I don't think I could take them here. I'm going to take Baltimore. They do need to limit the turnovers. I think Lamar Jackson, the past few games, really giving up the ball a bit too much for my liking, but I think it will be a close game. It's always close between the Browns and Ravens. AFC North, we know about these games, but I believe it's not just going to be winning outright, but I think Baltimore will get this on the spread as well, just because the Browns have struggled even more than the Ravens to put points on the board.
Who would have thought the guy wearing a Raven sweater would be going the other way and taking the Browns? We'll see how that works. Next game, we got the Cowboys, your Cowboys, coming off a nice win against the Saints, 5-point favorites on the road, going up against one of the hottest teams in football right now. That is right, the Washington football team.
Is going to be a huge one for the NFC East. Obviously, these are two rivals. I hate Washington with a passion. I'm going to go Dallas. No, not because I'm a fan, but it's because I believe in Dak Prescott. Look, Taylor Heineke, he's a guy that's really impressed us, let's be honest. He's been impressive the past few weeks, but has he been in moments like these where you need a win over a divisional rival, right? I get it. He's been playing nice, but this is a type of game where we really see, okay, is he the future of Washington in terms of the quarterback position? But what I would say, what I do recommend for Washington on their side is time of possession. That's what's really helped them in this run. They beat Tampa Bay by keeping the ball away from Tom Brady. They kept the ball away, that is, from Cam Newton in Carolina, Seattle too, that game as well. So if they do want a chance in this one, they're going to have to run the football a lot with Antonio Gibson and keep the ball away from Dak and that offense. But if it's late third, early fourth, I just trust in Dak's ability to get it done, right? And the big plays will be there with his weaponry that he has on the outside. So that's why I'm going to take Dallas. And Dallas is also better on the road, right? We've seen that they're 5-1 against the spread in their last 6 games. But yeah, overall, I just think that Dallas, they have a bit of trouble at home for some reason. But when they do play on the road, albeit, against certain teams like Kansas City, we saw an off day there. But, overall, they've had a nice season on the road. You're looking at games in New Orleans. They got that done. New England, for example, without Dak in Minnesota. So I'm going to trust Dallas in this one.
Yeah, divisional game. I'm going to take the points with the home team. Washington, they're on fire right now. I'm going to, go with the hot team and ride that momentum in this one. I think it's going to be a close game, field goal game. And Dallas, I know they got back on track, but that offense didn't really impress me as much as I thought they were going to against the Saints. I know the Saints defense is still fairly good, but they were banged up. And if it wasn't for that big run by Pollard, that game probably could have been, going down to the wire. So I wasn't necessarily sold by Dallas. I think this is still a team that has to be a lot better if they do want to make noise in the NFC. And I just look at this matchup for them. Yes, they have been really good on the road. They've been really good inside of their division, but I just think Washington's going to create some parity here, and they're going to make this one interesting. That defense is playing well. Heineke's making plays. Gibson's running the ball really well. Them being at home, that crowd's going to, fuel them. This is going to be a big match feel, big game for Washington. I think they show up, and I will take the 3.5. I think this is going to be a field goal game, low scoring game, as I think the defenses are going to come to play here. So I will take Washington.
No Logan Thomas will be big for Washington in that one. But let's move on to another divisional rivalry. We have the Raiders and the Chiefs. Who's your take? Who's your take here?
Yeah, I think I'm going with the same theme as the last game in terms of divisional game. This is way too many points, I think. I think the Raiders are going to bounce back. This is a Raiders team that in their last couple of meetings have played the Chiefs competitively. And the Chiefs, they still haven't sold me either. I mean, you look at that offense, Mahomes is still making mistakes. And if Denver just had a quarterback that was able to move the ball down the field, the Broncos had a chance to win that game. They were really keeping the door open for Denver. And I do think the Chiefs are playing much better than they did at the start of the season. Don't get me wrong. That defense has really picked up its slack. But I just think 9.5 points, Las Vegas is going to come into this game hungry, needing a win because they know they dropped their last couple of games. Expect Derek Carr to have a big day offensively and that defense to answer the call. I do think the Raiders are going to make things interesting. I don't think this is going to be as one-sided as the Sunday Night Football game we saw between the Chiefs and the Broncos. The Raiders are a much better team, and I think they will show up here.
I'm taking the Chiefs. I'm looking at the first meeting that happened this season between these two. Kansas City, they just destroyed them, right? Maybe not going to be the same this time, but this is a great opportunity for KC's offense to finally get back on track. Why? Because they always go off on the Raiders, it seems. The last time they scored less than 30 points against the Raiders was their first meeting in 2019. So the past 5 games, they've been 30, 35 to 40 points on these guys. So I think that the Raiders are going to have a long day dealing with this offense. I think the offense, Patrick Mahomes, is going to come right back and show us who he really is. I think this is the perfect time for it. But when we're seeing, all these wins on the schedule for Kansas City, it's really been because the defense is the name of the game right now. They're just not letting anyone really score any points. They haven't let anyone score 20 plus points since all the way back in week 7 against the Titans. It's been that long. So shout out to what they're doing defensively. And I think that with Derek Carr not having Darren Waller out there and Kenyon Drake, another weapon on that offense, he's out. I don't see the Raiders keeping up with the Kansas City Chiefs here. Give me the Chiefs.
Okay, next game, we got the Seahawks taking on the Texans. The Seahawks got back on track with that huge win against the Niners. They are going to be a 7.5 point favorite in this spot. Who do you like here?
I like Seattle. I think that the Texans were just dreadful against the Colts. I don't see any signs of hope here. I think that Seattle, honestly, they catch a break here. I think that Russell Wilson coming off of a game where he threw for 81% completion percentage, that is, I think he's going to have another nice day. I think that Pete Carroll is going to have a nice game plan set up, whether if it's Davis Mills, who might get the start, or Tyrod Taylor, who was actually benched in the last game. I just think Houston doesn't have enough offensively to hang with Seattle. I think Seattle will manage to have long drives and big playability to get down the field. So they're going to move to 5-8, probably, still be in the mix for a playoff spot, which is hard to think of, just given that record. But yeah, they're still in it. So I think Seattle's the pick here.
Yeah, could Seattle go on a run? I mean, there's still, 5 weeks left. They could, in theory, make a run. And I mean, they are catching a break here, like you said. I do like the Seahawks in this spot. I know their offense has been very stagnant, so 7.5 points might be a little bit intimidating to lay on the road, but you just said it. I mean, what the hell's going on with Houston right now? Who's going to even start at quarterback for them? It looked like they're a little bit back on track with Taylor, but he got benched, has not looked good at all. That offense hasn't done anything. That defense letting up so many points. Look at what Indy just did to them. So I don't know how you can have any faith in the Texans here at home to keep this game close. I think this is going to be a one-sided game. Seahawks, like I mentioned, they must be feeling really good after spoiling the Niners win streak. So now they come into this game, they're going to be expected to win, and I think they will win. I think Russell Wilson is going to play very well. That defense is going to gain even more confidence. I wouldn't be surprised if they limit the Texans to like 3 or even at most 10 points in this spot. So I do like the Seahawks to win this game big. And can they make a run? Who knows? They could. And I think it's going to start this Sunday with a big win against the Texans.
Okay, and the Texans rivals meet up this week. We have the Jaguars and the Titans. Titans favored by a lot here. So do you think that this spread is, justified?
I think it is. You look at these two teams, the Titans have blown out the Jags 3 of their last 4 meetings. They could be getting Julio Jones back for this game. They're off their bye, starting to get a little bit more healthy. Coming off that loss against the Patriots, they're going to be pissed off here. They're at home. The Jags are a mess. I'm laying the points, 10.5. This is going to be a spread that I think the Titans are easily going to cover, or 9.5, as you see on the screen. Tannehill is going to have a big day, and if Jones can come back in this one, I expect him to have a big day. And yeah, I think this is a game the Titans need to get. The Jags haven't remained competitive in the last couple of weeks. They got blown out by the Rams, as we both predicted on this show. So I think the Titans are going to win big here. Give me the 9.5 points.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Mike Vrabel and this Titans team usually good off of the bye. So they have, time to rest, time to prepare for the Jaguars. I don't know what Urban Meyer and company are going to do. They had a pretty poor effort against the Rams. It was ugly to watch. I see the same thing happening this week. I think the Titans might win this game by 12 to 14 points, so 2 touchdowns, in terms of differential. I just don't see the Jags because they're one of the worst teams also against the spread this year. And you know what? Let's look at it. The AFC, it's all tight right now at the top. A lot of 8-4 teams, and then you're looking at the Patriots at 9-4. The Titans want to get a win here just to make sure they're still in the hunt for a first round bye. Give me the Titans.
Okay, on the same page there. Moving on now, we got the Jets at home once again. They're taking on the Saints. The Saints, 5-point favorites.
I got New Orleans here. I think the Jets, they showed some signs of life against the Eagles until it was too late. It's just their defense. The Jets' defense is really bad this year. So I don't think that anyone can really put their trust or faith into New York right now. And I don't think that Taysom Hill, as for New Orleans, I don't think Hill is the long-term option at quarterback. He's just not that guy. But what we did see against Dallas, we saw certain plays where, it was pretty impressive. He had some nice throws, but definitely what we're going to see this week, a lot of the running game. And yes, Taysom Hill, it's not just going to be the running backs. It's going to be Taysom. He's going to get a lot of work in terms of the ground game. I don't know if the Jets, who have a defense that continues to regress, I don't know if they're going to manage to limit Hill. I know Hill has a busted finger right now, so we'll see how he does in the air. But yeah, as for the ground game, I think the Saints are going to utilize that. And also New Orleans' defense is really solid, right? They made sure to make it tough on Dallas's offense last week. So I don't know what the Jets have in store for this one. Give me the Saints.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go with the Jets here. I just don't trust the Saints team right now. They're so banged up, and they're going to be starting Hill here, and he's not going to be 100%. I really thought they were going to go back to Simeon. I mean, Hill is a good player, but like you said, he's not the long-term solution at quarterback there. I know the Jets defense is struggling, but I just don't trust the Saints to put up enough points to cover the spread. I mean, I can see the Saints winning by 4 or 3, but to lay the full 5 on the road, I don't feel comfortable doing that. I think the Jets can keep this game close. I know, Wilson had a big day against the Texans, and then we thought that maybe they could have beaten, the Eagles with Minshew, but that was just Minshew's coming out party. I think it was a bad spot for the Jets being at home once again. I think they will make this game competitive. I know the Saints have had a ton of time from Thursday to get ready for the Jets. But I think this is just a game that you stay away if you are betting. So I will play it safe here and take the points because I don't know how this game is going to go, given how both these teams have completely fallen off.
All right, and now we have an interesting one in the NFC South. The Falcons going to Carolina to meet up with the Panthers.
Yeah, Panthers firing offensive coordinator Joe Brady. So we'll see how their offense looks for this one. I'm actually going to go with the Falcons. They have won 6 of their last 8 against the Panthers. This has been a series that they have dominated lately. And Carolina 0-4 against the spread as a favorite in their last 4 games, being a favorite. I don't even know how they're a favorite here. I know the Falcons are the Falcons, but the Panthers haven't sold anybody. I mean, I know they got that big win against the Cards, but then Cam Newton has reverted back to his old ways. And I'll say this about Cam. I know it was exciting for the Panthers to bring him back, but that's like running back to your ex after it didn't work out. I think that's going to ultimately be a wrong move for them. Cam Newton, I love him as a player, but I just think his time in the NFL is done. And I just don't see the Panthers making a playoff push with Cam. The Panthers are going to have to solve their quarterback issues this offseason, and I think it's just going to be an up and down season to close out the season from here on out. While the Falcons, I have more faith in them potentially making a wild card push because this is a team that can put up offense. Matt Ryan, I like him a lot better at QB right now as I do Cam Newton. He's got weapons around him. So I'm actually getting 3 with the Falcons in this spot. I'm going to take that because I think the Falcons win this game outright.
Yeah, I got the Falcons as well. I think the Panthers are going in the wrong direction right now. I think they're not playing good football as of late. And you mentioned it. You said it best. With Cam Newton, I'm a huge Cam fan, but he's had a slow comeback to being a starter in this league, which makes sense. He was on the couch for a while waiting for a call up to, some team. But, the Panthers, they believed in him. They do still have that faith, but how much faith do they have in Cam? Because if he has another poor performance, remember, he's 0-2 as a starter since his return. If he doesn't, play up to his standards or his expectations, they're probably going to have PJ Walker out there at some time on Sunday. How is PJ going to look? I don't know. So, yeah, I have Atlanta here. I think Matt Ryan's going to have a nice day. Unfortunately for them, obviously, they don't have Calvin Ridley, but Kyle Pitts, he's still there, still in the running for Rookie of the Year, offensive Rookie of the Year. So we'll see what he can do if the Panthers give him double coverage or not. But yeah, I think Atlanta, they're a good team in terms of being on the road against the spread. They're 6-1 in their last 7. And yes, you said it again. As for this rivalry, the Falcons have had their way with Carolina. And so I'm going to take I'm going to take Atlanta, here. And also, you mentioned it, Joe Brady not there. The offense has really struggled this year, right? And they're in the basement in terms of yards per game. So they're going to need to make things work. I don't see that happening this week. Atlanta it is.
Okay, next game. The Lions coming off their first win of the season, taking on the Broncos. Broncos favored by 8 here. Do you agree with this line?
It's pretty big, just given the fact that the Lions play really hard every single week. But I am going to go Denver. And yes, this comes after that Sunday night game where we saw the offense of the Broncos just not show up at all. I do believe, though, this week, the Detroit Lions defense isn't as good as what we've seen from the Chiefs defense as of late. So I think that Denver is actually going to manage to get down the field, score some points. But you know what's going to win them this game and cover this? It's the defense of Denver. You're seeing it on the screen. Pat Surtain. Right now, this defense led by Surtain, these guys having a good year. I think people are really forgetting about Denver's defense. They're one of the better defenses in the league. They're not going to let the Lions do anything on Sunday. I think it's going to be a long day for Jared Goff and company, especially given the fact that they're in Denver. It's going to be a tough place for Dan Campbell's team to show up. I don't know, they're on their high horse right now about this win, Detroit that is. So I think they're honestly going to have their heads in the clouds and not remember that they're playing, a pretty solid defense this week. I got Denver. I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any stretch, but at some point, Javonte Williams getting the ball a lot, he'll have a big day. He'll probably have around 100 yards rushing. That's my prediction. But yeah, at some point, the Broncos are going to manage to get points on the board and make this one a 2-touchdown game or 10-point game.
I know it's in Mile High, tough place to play, but I think it's going to be a little bit of a trap game. I mean, how can I take the Broncos lane 8 when that offense looked the way that they did against the Chiefs? I know the Chiefs defense has been playing a lot better, but I just don't trust the Broncos. It's like, which version of this team are you going to get? The team that upset the Cowboys or the team that we got on Sunday Football? I'm going to take the Lions here because they're on a 4-game cover streak, and the Broncos are actually 4-10-1 against the spread in their last 15 games as a home favorite. So I am going to take Jared Goff, Dan Campbell, and company to keep riding that momentum. I mean, they're going to make this game close. They're going to make it interesting. I think this is going to be another game that they could win. I mean, you look at the Lions, they should have at least a couple wins, on their slate from the season. They have been in seemingly every single game, and they have just been one of the most competitive basement teams that we have ever seen. So this is a team that they play hard. They're never out of a game. And I do think they're going to give the Broncos everything that they can handle. So I do think the Lions are going to cover the 8 points here. Like I said, I just don't trust the Broncos to lay that number at home, given how they've looked in the last couple of weeks offensively.
All right, let's see if the Lions could get it done once again. And now moving on to the Giants and the Chargers live from LA this weekend. Who's your pick?
Yeah, so 10.5 points is a lot, but I do think the Chargers are going to blow the brakes off of the Giants. So here's the situation for the Giants right now. Daniel Jones not going to be playing in this one. Mike Glennon got hurt, so he might not be ready for this one. So we could see Jake Fromm for the Giants going into this game to take on the Chargers. I do not trust Fromm to keep up with the explosive offense that is Justin Herbert and this Chargers team. So many weapons. We just saw what the Chargers did to the Bengals, and I think this is a big game for the Chargers because we talk about the theme that we have seen from this team. One week they look good, then the next week they regress. This is the week that they got to absolutely look like a dynamite playoff team in the AFC. There is no reason why this should be close. I mean, the Giants defense, they could have moments here, but the Chargers have to win this game convincingly. And, this is a Chargers team that as a favorite, they haven't been that good, only 1-5 against the spread. So I was a little bit skeptical taking them here, but I mean, the Giants, they have a bunch of injuries. They're starting Jake Fromm. The Chargers are at home, and this is a game that I just see them winning by at least 2 touchdowns. And if they don't, I mean, you could talk about the Chargers being a fraudulent team.
Yeah, I got the Chargers here as well for the reasons you pointed out, like Jake Fromm from Georgia. He was nice at Georgia, but this is the NFL now, and he hasn't had any play time or anything like that. Getting ready this week, we'll see how that goes for him. But the Giants shouldn't really feel good right now, given the fact that Daniel Jones is still out and Mike Glennon on concussion protocol. So I got the Chargers here. They were up against the Bengals 24-0 at one point. Remember, the Bengals are a playoff team right now. So they were up 24-0 at one point on Sunday. And I think we'll see something similar to that this week in terms of having a hot start. The Giants are struggling right now. This is a spot where we'll see Justin Herbert have a nice day. I'm not too sure if Keenan Allen will be out there. I think he's on COVID protocol, so his status unclear. But, despite that, I think that the Chargers just have too many weapons, not to have points on the board, not to have good drives. And obviously, you trust that arm of Justin Herbert. Give me LA here.
Okay, next game. One of the biggest games of the week, really. We got the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. And this is a pick'em game, really. Bengals, 1-point favorite.
I got San Francisco this week. I think the Bengals are kind of inconsistent. I know that they're in the playoffs right now, but I don't know how trustworthy they really are. And also Joe Burrow, who I like, he also suffered a dislocated pinky during that loss against the Chargers. So how is he going to throw the ball, right? How is he going to look? This might impact how we view this game. So given that injury, I'm not too sure if I could take the Bengals. I believe that also the Niners are the more physical team. They'll impose their will on the Bengals on Sunday. And the Bengals, let's face it, they've let some teams push them around, like we saw Sunday, right? The Chargers, they got off, to the hot start, and they were just doing whatever they wanted. I think that the Niners will do something similar to that. And also the Bengals offense, we get it. They still have their weapons. It will be tough. They'll make it tough on the Niners, but at the end of the day, it comes down to less mistakes. I think that this weekend we'll actually see my prediction is that we'll see less mistakes being made by the Niners as opposed to the Bengals, who did, have some lapses in play against LA on the weekend. Yes, the Niners coming off of that tough loss in Seattle, they really could have used a win there, but I think they rebound here and make sure that they're still in the thick of things when it comes to the NFC wildcard.
I have to agree with you, Jelani. How serious of a picky injury is that going to be for Joe Burrow? I'll tell you this much. He did not look the same in the second half as he did in the first half. He couldn't quite grip that ball properly without grimacing in pain. So now you're taking on, like you said, a very physical Niners team that does have a good defense. Oh, and by the way, they could be getting Deebo Samuel back as well. So that is going to be huge for that offense. I think this is a spot that the Niners are going to win. I think, they're going to go into Cincinnati, take advantage of a team that has been inconsistent, a team that is going through some injuries. They also got some injuries on defense as well. And the 49ers, this is a team, when they're healthy and they have all their playmakers out there and everybody on defense is healthy, this is a team that can hang with the best of them. And I do think, Jimmy G is going to have a much better day in this one. I think that Niners loss against Seattle was more of it just being a bad spot for the Niners. We know that the Seahawks have their number. I think they're going to come prepared here. Shanahan, he's going to, come up with a perfect game plan to limit Burrow, who he knows is not 100%. So that's going to be in favor of the Niners to take advantage. I think they're going to have a big day on the ground. Garoppolo's going to make the throws he needs to. That defense is going to make life a living hell for Burrow. And yeah, I think the Niners are going to come out of Cincy with a big time win, keeping their playoff hopes alive.
All right. And a big, big game here. We have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers hosting the Buffalo Bills. This is massive. Josh Allen against Tom Brady. Who's your pick?
I like the Buccaneers, and I think they're going to win this game, by at least, I'm going to say a touchdown, because I just think the Bills are reeling right now. They are not looking like the same Bills team that we thought they were going to look like this season. I mean, everybody thought they're going to run away with that division, and then surprise, New England takes over and goes on that big win streak. I think there's a lot of problems right now in Buffalo. Jelani, you saw in that post-game presser from a lot of their players, that looked like a team that just looked like they were demoralized, very upset, and that the Patriots got in their head. And I think that's going to linger here as they're going to take on a Buccaneers team that they're 4-0 against the spread at home. And the Bills, don't look now. If they lose this game, they could be in jeopardy of missing the playoffs. Who would have thought that? That's how close things are in the AFC playoff picture right now. So this is not a good spot for Buffalo. I think the Buccaneers are going to take advantage of them. And, there's going to be more questions to answer in Buffalo after they lose to the GOAT, Tom Brady and company. So I do not like the morale and where the Bills are headed after a couple of tough weeks for them.
Yeah, I agree. I got the Bucs this week, and the Bills are really struggling, like you mentioned, and we're seeing it from the turnovers, right? The offense right now for Buffalo, 12 giveaways over their last 5 games. That's not good enough. And especially since you're playing Tampa this week, you don't want to continue that trend, right? You don't want to give Tom Brady a lot of opportunity this weekend. And the Bills know who this guy is. Why? Because, Brady was in New England for 20 years, right? And he's had a lot of success against Buffalo. So this is a big game. We understand it. I think Tom and the offense is going to have a nice day at home at Raymond James Stadium. They're almost unbeatable. And you mentioned how they are against the spread, and over the last 4 undefeated against the spread at home. So there's a lot more trust I have in Tampa Bay this week. And it may start close. This game might start close, a few field goals in that. But at the end of the day, I think the Bucs will have, certain drives, certain plays that put them over the edge on the scoreboard. So that's why I got the Bucs here. The Bills, like you mentioned, might fall out of a wild card spot given a loss here. So this is very important, right? Especially because, they lost to the Patriots this week. And when you're talking about common opponents, you're looking at the Patriots, they lost to Tampa. So, if the Bills could find a way to win this game in terms of division, this would help them a ton. But I don't have Josh Allen in this team, who's looking really weird right now. I don't want to put them on the fraud watch, but they're there. So give me the Bucs.
Yeah, and this Bills team, they have not shown up against the elite teams of the NFL. So definitely uncertain times in Buffalo right now. Okay, to Sunday Night Football we go. We got the Packers at home taking on the Bears. Big spread here. Who are you going with?
We've seen this before. Every time there's a Sunday night game between the Bears and the Packers, it's always at Lambeau Field for some reason. They never go to Soldier Field. We know what happens at the end of it. The Packers win by multiple touchdowns. I got the Pack here. I don't think this game is going to be close, to be quite honest with you. Andy Dalton, he threw many picks against the Arizona Cardinals on the weekend, had a rough day, and it will be tough and tougher to play against this team in Green Bay. The Packers, to me, the best team in football right now, and that's, without Zadarius Smith, without Jair Alexander and Bakhtiari. So I think that the Bears are going to struggle once more. Matt Nagy and company, they understand what they're going up against. They're playing arguably the best team in football, and let's face it, Aaron Rodgers, he owns Chicago, 22-5 overall. They're also, as a team, the Packers, 13-3 against the spread in their last 16 games. So, over the course of the calendar year, I think the Packers got this one.
And 5-0 against the spread in their last 5 home games. Yeah, this is not going to be close. Rodgers owns the Bears, and it's going to continue here. I mean, the Packers, I think, are the best team in football. I agree with that statement. Yeah, this is not going to be close. They're going to put up, any number they want. The Bears are a mess right now. The Packers are just a different animal, late in the year at Lambeau. This is not a team that you want to bet against. So, yeah, I'm not going to spend more time on this game. I think the Packers are going to win big and, lay the points with the Green Bay Packers.
Last one we have a great Monday Night Football game in the NFC, the Rams and the Cardinals. Who's your take here? The Cardinals are favored.
Yeah, I guess a bit of an upset pick, if you will. I'm going to go with the Rams. I think they're going to give the Cardinals a little bit of revenge after what the Cardinals did to them earlier this season going into Los Angeles. I do think the Rams are going to show up here. I think last week was big for them. Now, I know it's against the Jags and everybody can look good against the Jags, but it was an important game for the Rams just to get back to the basics. Matthew Stafford looking, confident, making the passes needed, that defense bouncing back. That was a get-it-right game for the Rams, and I think they will be back on track. I don't think this is a fraud team in the NFC. I think this is still going to be a team that you got to look out for. So, I just think that this is going to end up being a bad spot for the Cardinals, who have been playing incredibly. I mean, Murray, Hopkins did not miss a beat coming back against the Bears. I just got this gut instinct that the Rams are going to go into Arizona and win this game. I think Sean McVay, this is a guy that usually shows up on Monday Night Football. I know they lost to the Niners a couple weeks ago, but he's usually a big-time coach that you want in these big-time games in prime time. So I do like the Rams to upset the Cards here, so I'll take the points.
I'm going to go with Arizona this week. I'm looking at LA. I understand they lead the league in yards per play. I get it. They have Matt Stafford and these guys. But what Rams team are we going to see this week? That's my question, right? Because they play incredible football against teams that are below 500, like we saw on Sunday against the Jaguars. They'll just run them right out of the building. But when they play teams that are right with them, atop the NFC, those strong teams in the league, they really struggle. So I have the Cardinals here. I think Kyler Murray coming back against the Bears. He looked really, really good, albeit against the Bears, I know. But he's had, a nice showing on Sunday. And given the fact that DeAndre Hopkins is back, that's another weapon that the Cardinals have. They've been playing the best football as of late. They have all these weapons. I think James Conner, he's going to find his way in the end zone once again. He's been scoring all year long. The one thing for the Rams is an X factor has to be Odell Beckham Jr. Why? Because they can't just have Cooper Kupp out there doing everything, right? If Odell has a nice day, then maybe the Rams might have, a shot at covering or maybe winning this game outright. But at the end of the day, I think the Cardinals are the stronger team. Right now, their roster appears to be better. Albeit those big names that the Rams have, I just have more trust in what I'm seeing from Arizona. Cliff Kingsbury in the running for Coach of the Year right now. They're playing great football. And I just don't know if the Rams could get this one done because they struggled against all these good teams, all these playoff teams this season. So they're going to need this one just to show people that they are legit.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is a game that the Rams need just to remind people that, you still got to consider them a Super Bowl favorite when it's all said and done. So those are our picks against the spread, week 14. We will see how this week is going to look. So Jelani and I, we actually got a lot of different picks, as you see on the board here. I'm going with a lot of the underdogs. Jelani likes, the Chiefs to blow out the Raiders. And also, we got the Packers blowing out the Bears. And we're going to see what happens in Tampa Bay. Can the Bills, come back after what happened against New England and upset Tom Brady? We will see what happens. But I definitely think that's going to be the game of the week, to see what happens there. And then also you got some other games that should be good, like Cleveland taking on my Baltimore Ravens. Which version of the Ravens are we going to see? Are the Browns going to look good coming off the bye? Time will tell. And then another game that I'm looking forward to is that Niners-Bengals game. Two teams that are very much alive in the playoff picture, playing solid football. What's going to happen there? We'll see. But thank you so much for watching. Once again, this is Spreadzies. You can follow us on the parlay all season long, where myself and Jelani give you our picks against the spread. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Good luck with your picks, and we'll see you again next week.